Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about Wonder Monday low-carb cheesecakes. So, like so many of our nutrition nuggets, this one was inspired by a client of mine. So shout out to Gary. It was just his birthday a couple weeks ago. Happy birthday, Gary. Anyway, he sent me a text and said, these Wonder Monday low-carb cheesecakes are a little too good to be true. So I gave him, an LOL, and I was like, I'm not familiar with them. I don't really like cheesecake. And so, okay, first of all, sidebar, because I know you're sitting here going, you don't like cheesecake? I don't know. It's just not my thing. Like, give me some cookie dough. All bets are off, but like cheesecake does nothing for me. So there it is. Anyway, so he replied offering to bring me one the next time I see him. So he said, and I'm quoting him here, I'm guessing there won't be any shortage in my fridge moving forward. So with that kind of a review, I wanted to check it out, right? And we'll check it out together. So I went to their website. Their marketing claims are low carb, high protein, gluten-free. And then, of course, it says impossibly delicious. So, like I said, I'll let you be the judge of that, but we can look through the other parts together. So let's start. I pulled the label of the classic plain flavor. Now, in the marketing callouts on the back, it says 3 grams of net carbs, which is intriguing, right? So I'm going to keep reading. So it has 270 calories, which we know isn't the story that we're looking for. Then there's 24 grams of fat. Whoa. Of which 12 grams of saturated fat. I'm giving that a Interesting. Okay. Then 10 grams of protein. So like a little over an ounce there, like a little more than an egg white. And then on the carbs, it's 28 grams of total carbs, 1 gram of fiber, 2 grams of sugar, 0 grams of sugar alcohols, and 24 grams of allulose. So to get their 3 grams of net carbs, right? You guys are familiar with this. The new thing here is allulose. So they did the 28 grams of total carbs minus fiber, which gets you to 27, minus the allulose gets you, it's 24 grams of allulose. So now you're left with 3 grams of net carbs. So before I come back to the fat thing, let's talk about allulose for a second. It is a low glycemic, low calorie sweetener it's relatively new. Right? It is FDA approved, but we don't have a ton of research on it. So I could do a nutrition nugget, another day just on allulose to dive deeper into it. But a key thing for us to understand today, the research on allulose is that, so what we know is that it's not absorbed into the body. You actually pee it out. So that's why it doesn't raise your blood sugar or impact your insulin levels. And so that's why they subtracted it in their net carb count. And remember, net carbs are telling us the carbohydrates in the food that are going to impact our blood sugar. Now, but the yellow flag here for me is that it's 24 grams of allulose. Like, this is a lot. So in the studies that I've seen, the highest dose anybody looked at from the studies I saw was 15 grams. Most of the studies were like 4 to 7 gram doses. So at 24 grams, this is a lot. And we do not know the long-term impact of this, let alone the short-term impact of such a dose. So yellow flag for me on the allulose. And then going back to the fat, it's a lot of fat in a single thing. And half of that is saturated fat, so also a yellow flag. But then, of course, let's look at the ingredients so that we can learn a little bit more, right? Where's the fat coming from? What's happening there? So on the ingredients, the classic plain, it's pasteurized cultured milk and cream, allulose. So our sweetener is our second ingredient, going to keep us addicted to that sweet taste, right? Those flavors. Then we have eggs, almond flour, milk protein, coconut and or sustainable palm fruit oil, cream, vanilla, crystallized lemon, which is lemon juice, lemon oil, citric acid, cinnamon, salt, and then contains less than 2% of carob and guar gum, stevia, and natural flavors. So from this, we see that that fat is coming from the milk and cream, and then the coconut or palm fruit oil, none of which I would argue, are our most healthful sources of fat. And especially for people with blood sugar challenges. I learned this last year, actually. Saturated fat can, like that in the coconut products, right, can sit in the insulin receptor sites, blocking the use of insulin. So all in, I have like 2 or 3 yellow flags on this plain one. I was curious about the other flavors. So the strawberry flavor didn't have any additional sugar. It actually had 1 gram less of the allulose. And then on the ingredients, it was the same ingredients with a couple added, notably strawberries were actually listed in the ingredients. That was a pleasant surprise. And then there's also tapioca flour and tomato extract for color. They also have key lime cocoa chocolate flavors. And so there's some slight variations there in how much protein, like the cocoa one actually has a little bit, like an extra gram of protein, an extra gram of fiber. So there's slight differences, not enough to change, those yellow flags for me. So essentially, all in, I've got a yellow flag on the fat piece. I've got a yellow flag on the allulose, or really it's the amount of allulose. I don't know. I think given those 2 things, if this is your dessert on occasion, I would say go for it, keeping in mind that like on occasion, right? And then just being aware and building the rest of our meal and building the rest of our plate, knowing what we're getting from there. I'll have to let you decide if Gary was right. Are they too good to be true? You guys will have to tell me. But I think, for you, it depends on you. If this is your best choice, but I'm glad to know about them because I think for some people, this might be super helpful in certain situations. Dr. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, great question. So this is my first time looking at them as well. One of the things I'm noticing as I'm pulling up the ingredients following with you, this is the size of 1 cake and the package contains 12.
Right.
So this might be like, this doesn't look like a large cake either. So it's like, this could be a one size thing. I think the answer always comes down to, and I think what you were getting at, compared to what?
Yes.
Right. Compared to what? So this could be a much better option compared to a less healthy option. But I hesitate with calling some of this health foods. Like we talked about inflammatory foods a little bit in the episode. Milk or dairy products in general is one of my 4 most common inflammatory foods. So that's definitely going to be something people could have an issue with. Eggs are probably lower down. They're probably between 9 and 15, but definitely a possibility somebody wants to be aware of.
Totally.
And I think the other thing I would say is even with the allulose, even if it's not sugar and it's not raising the blood sugar, it's training the body to crave sugar, or it still puts us a little bit on that sugar roller coaster, or a lot bit. So I think I'd fall generally where you do, which is, compared to what, or as an occasional snack, you're probably good. But stevia is a much healthier option and things like that. But I still, anything that puts someone on that sugar roller coaster of craving something sweet, even if it's a healthier sweet thing, I think that's really something we have to be aware of, because blood sugar issues are just so incredibly common. They show up. We talked about triglyceride levels. We talked about blood sugar. We talked about hemoglobin A1C. So those would be a couple, to use your terminology, a couple yellow flags I'd look at around that. But compared to what, or on an occasional snack, go for it. Enjoy it. Be grateful as you eat it. Yeah, but don't confuse it with the health food. Yeah.
100%, right? There's definitely a range between these healthier options for something and something that is truly health promoting and health supporting.
Yeah, well said.
Awesome. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jen Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I am at Jen Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideoffries.com. Send a message. Check out the merch. I just want to hear from you. I want to hear your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Dr. Jeff Crippen, thank you again for being here and sharing all your wisdom.
Awesome. You were great, Jen. Pleasure to be here with you and your audience. And wishing you guys a healthy, happy 2024.
Absolutely. So friends, if you are not already, join our membership by going to glow.fm/saladwithasideoffries. This shows your support for this podcast and this community, but most importantly, your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the apple cider chicken and 20% off your signed copy of Dr. Jeff Crippen's book, Timeless Youth. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.